Let's go to Carrie in Rising Sun. Man, what a cool name for a
Pretty
town.
rock and roll.
What's up, Carrie?
Hi, how are you guys?
Outstanding. What's up?
Cool. This is so exciting. Okay.
I
So
promise it's more exciting for us. I promise.
So a colleague that I work with, a nurse, her name's Erica, she recommended that I read The Total Money Makeover. And since I read it, I've been kind of hooked in just propelling forward to our future of being debt-free. And I've been sharing with my husband what I've been reading, and we've been applying it. So in the last 6 weeks, we've paid off roughly $13,000 in credit card debt.
All right.
Whoa.
I have another $6,000 that in 3 weeks we plan to pay off, leaving me with, originally I thought it was 2 loans, but we actually have 3 loans. So after we pay off this last credit card, I'll have a horse trailer loan, a Jeep loan, and then just paying off our roof loan.
George has
because we weren't
several.
prepared for our roof to leak.
George has
Been
several
there.
horse trailer loans. So yes.
If I had a nickel.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have a 12-month plan, worst case scenario, 18-month plan to be debt-free. And then in 18 to 2 years, we plan on moving south and, taking our horses and opening up a small horse ranch. My question is, every time I pay off my credit card, I call the company and I have them close the account. I cancel it and then I shred it. But each time I just feel a little pit of nausea and I wonder, am I really doing the smarter thing? Because I was always raised, and unfortunately I have raised my daughters as well to think that you need a good credit score to be able to buy a house, to be able to rent, and to buy a car. And so I am kind of backpedaling with my daughters, and I'm trying to say, hey, I screwed up here, but let's look at this
Hold
together.
on. Hey, I'm going to let George solve the
You're mom of the year already.
the process. Let me tell you this. And this is a common misconception. This is literally destroying the country. Okay?
Yes.
This idea that once I say something, even if I'm passionate about it, I proclaim, I'm going to do this. When I get to office, I'm doing this and this and this. And then I get there and I get behind the curtain and I realize what I said I was about to do is going to make everything worse. Or I tell my son, you want to be a man, it looks like this and this and this. And then I go to counseling for the first time and I realize, oh, I'm the problem. And then I sit down. I'm telling you all that to tell you this. The greatest gift you can give your daughters is the gift of saying, hey, I really believed in this. This is how I was taught. And then I learned something new. And here's the magic phrase. I was wrong, period. All wisdom.
Yes.
All wisdom starts with the words, I was wrong, and I learned something new. I on my show the other day, I was telling somebody, I give nutrition advice, which I shouldn't have been doing, and one of the smartest men on the planet, Dr. Lane Norton, called me on my phone. He goes, hey, man, you were wrong. You gave wrong advice. And you know what? I was really grateful because then I could go make it right. Does that make sense? So the greatest gift you give, you're not selling your kids out or kind of jerking them around. No, you are teaching them what wisdom looks like, which is to learn something new, practice it, believe it strongly, go full force, and then when you learn something new, do something different. Good for you. You're mom of the year, as George said. Good for you. Okay,
Well said,
George,
John.
sorry.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, so Carrie, I felt the
you.
same way when I was getting out of debt because I thought the same. I was like, well, I got to rent cars. I rent apartments. How am I going to live my life? And then I realized the whole thing is a scam because I went to my apartment with no credit score and they were like, oh, yeah, that's no big deal. You just need to pay the first month's deposit. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And then I went to rent a car and they were like, yeah, cool. We'll just put a $300 hold on the debit card. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. And then I went to get a mortgage and there's this thing called manual underwriting with a no score loan. And they went, hey, do you have a 12-month rental history and proof that you've paid other bills on time? And they were like, okay, cool. Here's a mortgage. And so it just made me go, oh my gosh, we've been scammed all along. You don't need a credit score to live your life.
And George, I don't know about you, Carrie, I don't know about you. When I had credit cards and I would cancel them, I would feel like I was cutting off one of my exit strategies. Like I had 50 different exit strategies in case it all went down. And every time I got rid of a credit card, I felt like I was shutting one big door. And like my body felt a little bit like, okay, now we only have 49 avenues to escape if it all goes down, and then 47, and then 42, and then right. And I think it's completely reframing Debt is debt is the prison you're locked in. It's not the solution to get out.
So, Carrie, I'm going to give you and your daughter some homework. This is a fun thing you guys can do together. Go listen to episode 7 of The Fine Print. I did a whole episode called The Dirty Truth Behind Your Credit Score. I literally call random apartments and homes across the country, and I ask them, can I rent without a credit score? And I talk to the mortgage lenders, and I say, hey, what does it look like for me to go through this process of manual underwriting? And they explain it in full. And so I think it will give you a lot of peace and confidence for this plan going forward. And let me tell you what's going to happen.
Okay.
You're going to pay off that debt in 18 months. And once you close all accounts, 6 to 12 months later, after that, you're going to have an indeterminable credit score. But in that 6 to 12 months, guess what you're doing? Saving up a fully funded emergency fund of 3 to 6 months of expenses, saving up the down payment on the house. And so you got plenty of things to do until that credit score falls away. And then you're going to move into that next phase of your life with such peace and confidence, because you're not going to be drowning in payments anymore. You're going to have money in the bank to cover emergencies. So know that you're doing the right things.
Okay. Yeah, I appreciate that, because I'm always sharing what I'm reading with my husband. My husband always looks at me with such faith and trust, and he's just like, are we doing the right thing? And I said, according to Mr. Ramsey, yes. And so we aren't exactly.
Well, it's according to Dave, but it's also according to millions and millions and millions of people.
Yeah.
Who
The
don't
proof is
owe
in the pudding.
anybody anything. Yeah, they owe nobody anything. So you are on the right path. George, I think it's important to add one thing, and that lead us into this article we got here, man. They might have to say no to some things as they start their business. They want it to look like this and have all this cool, awesome artwork done in the wood and all this. They may have to phase that in over time because they're going to pay at the speed of cash, right? And so there is going to be some, I wish it could look like this right now, but it's going to look like that in 2 years. That's going to be part of it, right? Because we're going slow and we're doing it right. That's always worth it in the end, I think.
Yeah, I mean, swimming upstream, there's downsides. It's harder to swim upstream.
Yeah.
It's slightly harder to live in a world where credit is put on this pedestal. But what you also find is that you have less anxiety and you're worried less about that next paycheck. And that counts for a whole lot more than me playing this game so I can have a quote-unquote easy, convenient life.